course the Experientify way. And so we will definitely save enough time to do that today, but I wanted to start it if there's any urgent questions or anything that's really top of mind that somebody wants to make sure we get solved here in the beginning. And and I have a question. I'm looking over at my colleague, Gabrielle. I'm wondering if we were able to solve that. Where do we find the subscription information that we got from Naomi last night? Was that her name? In the page builder, when we were at the header and we wanted to say how does the student, how do we edit that information in the account? Because I was on another call today and we can't find it. So I got to figure out where to find that from our support team.
Okay, we are still working on that, Steven.
No worries.
So yeah, I will let you know as soon as we have like the best answer, the easy one, because many of these things are like really complex sometimes. So don't worry.
Okay, sounds good. Great. I am just pulling up an account so we can play in it. And Shobha.
Yes, I have a question.
Sure.
So in the course builder at the back end, like I'm running a membership course. I was just wondering, like, are the students able to see the leaderboard? I mean, as administrator, I know at the back end, we are able to see the activity and the XP points that they gathered. But can the students see the leaderboard?
Right now, we don't have a leaderboard, so I'm not sure where they would see it.
Okay.
So we have our leaderboards are still in development. And so when they are available, which is very, it's imminent, it's like they're coming any day now kind of thing. That we'll have a complete, we'll do one of these office hours about it. We'll put training out about it, etc. But as of right now, we don't have leaderboards to publish.
Okay, so one more quick question. So do we have the ability to do the quizzes, or is this feature coming as well in Experientify? So let's say if we want to administer at the end of the module, if you want to administer any quiz just to see if the student has understood the module. So for now, is it like for now, like I'm just using Zoom polls and quizzes just to quiz the students. But I was curious, like is this feature available or is coming if you want to administer any quiz through Experientify?
The short answer is yes. We do have limited assessment capabilities like multiple choice questions and feedback forms. So like short, like paragraph kind of feedback, those kinds of things. We do not have complex assessment tools like you might see in other Experientify's, in other learning management systems where, you have like fill in the blank or, slide and drag the answer or, some other types of assessment options. But yes, you definitely do have the ability to add assessments there. I believe Gabrielle may have already just put the link in there.
Okay.
In the chat.
So I mean, even if we have that multiple choice option, that would be great. I mean, if we are able to put that at the back end. So, okay. So I'll look at this article. Okay.
And this one is, so that the one that Gabrielle just shared in the chat is about essay type assessments. And then sorry. I just sent it to the wrong. So I put another link in there. That's about how to add multiple choice.
Okay.
quizzes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. How to add multiple choice style quiz actions. Okay. This sounds great. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And is there, I'm presuming even this might be something. So is there a way the students, like in the pre-actions, like, can I have that pre-action set up in a way that the student is filling out every day? For example, if I'm running a challenge, so all they need to do is just check a box. Okay, So or maybe, okay, today I drank 5 cups of water, or today I did my 5K steps. So let's say if there are that 3 check boxes, and like what I'm trying to do is, like earlier I thought it would be nice to have a leaderboard, but now it's not, since it's not there. Is there a way like where like I'm trying to just have them check mark on a daily basis? So is it better to just develop that as a pre-action for each day, or do you think of any other way that that would be beneficial for the students?
Yes, I understand your question. And so basically you want to have 1 or 2 actions every day for someone to do.
Yes.
Do you want these to happen before they have access to other learning, or is this just something that they do, that just something that you want them to do, or what's your intended outcome here?
So, so this is like after they join the course, and let's say like for seven days, we want them to do a particular action. So where they're just checking off, yes, I did this action, and for doing that action, they're gaining the points. So in a way, they are seeing like
Progress.
and they have prizes for whoever has the maximum points. So in this way, it's just a motivation factor them to gain the points. I mean, to do the action, gain the points, and win the prizes.
Okay. And so for each, I guess that really at the end of the day, for every day that you have in the challenge, right? If you use our template that we have for creating a 5-day or 10-day challenge, you could use the 10-day challenge and just remove 3 of the days. But then for, in each of the days, you would just put an action that says, yes, I have completed my, I did my 5K steps or whatever it is. And then that would be a great place to do it. So it's in each training. So that would be, 1 training per day.
Okay.
Another way, there are more complex ways to do it if you wanted to do it. You were suggesting doing it on the homepage. I would do it in the training, since simply you're wanting people to come back every day to interact with your challenge, right? And if you put it on the homepage, then you're not really utilizing those challenge opportunities to either give them a new piece of information or give them some motivation or whatever, and then check off that they did their 5K steps, that kind of thing. So I would do it directly in the
So in that way, like I have to build a training for each day. So let's say if I want them to come back, if I'm inserting this in the training for each day.
Correct. So if let's just say, as I'm looking at, one of my Scratch Experience5 accounts that we use here. And if I add a new course and I do, like, for instance, our 10-day challenge here.
Okay.
Right. So I'm going to just add that template to my account. Let me just get rid of these. You'll see that right here, it added this template to my account, the 10-day challenge. I'm just going to move it to the top so we can see it. You'll notice that these are unpublished, right?
Yes.
But anyway, so if I open up the 10-day challenge, in the course content, we already have the first 5 days, and then we already have the second 5 days already built for you. And so inside this training, as one of the actions and points that you would do is, you earn, you could say, look, you've earned the badge, or you've done. And so that's where we would put that's where I would put, hey, confirm that you walked your 5K steps.
Okay.
And that's where they would do that.
This is cool. So even I didn't realize that in the drop down we have option of like adding either the 10-day challenge or course, because right now, like I was just thinking, when creating courses, we just had one button. So under add new courses. So this is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have found that one of our missions is to remove any friction that you may have in creating a course. And so over the last 5 years, we've listened to the typical types of courses that our community builds. And so we have those, I think that's 7 or 8 different templates that you can use.
So was this something that was added new, or was this there for a long time, which I didn't even realize?
This is relatively new. This is
Okay.
relatively new. I would say it's within the last 2 months that we've made the templates very accessible. The templates have been there for a while,
Uh-huh.
but we've now we've updated the app so that when you
Okay.
roll over, add a new course, the first thing that we do is ask you if you want to use it. You can always just create like the
A
new
new blank course. Yes. I mean,
You can
that's
always start
what
from
I
scratch.
was doing. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
But if you want to, yeah, but so yes, the short answer is this is definitely within the last 2 months.
Oh, this is cool. I love this. Thank you so much
Awesome.
for letting me know.
Yeah, that's what these office hours are for. I want to make sure that we get these answers out there.
Mhm.
Hello, Daniel. Welcome. Glad you could join us. Also, Alex, welcome to you as well. Michelle. Daniel, before I get to you, there was a question in the chat. Susan, you had asked, what does a cohort class or course mean? And so essentially what a cohort means is, what we mean by it is that you have a group of students that take the course all at the same time. So many times people will create a course in Experienceify and it's what we call Evergreen, right? So somebody could sign up at any time, they could start the course, and then they're kind of on their own path for timing and when they complete it. But if you create a cohort course, then you would say, hey, everybody, the course is going to start on June 1st, and we're going to have a new lesson every week on Monday, going from, starting on June 1st. And that way, you put a whole bunch of people in the course, it could be 10 people, 20 people, 50 people, it really depends. And then, they actually follow the material along. So that's just the definition of a cohort. I guess it's not learning theory, but there's a lot of people who preferred to have that kind of learning methodology, that pedagogy, because there's the opportunity for peer-to-peer collaboration. There's the opportunity for community building. There's the opportunity to, sort of safety in numbers, all kinds of different reasons why moving with a cohort, it makes a lot of sense. And if you think about it, that's what most of us did in, traditional, kind of traditional classroom schools, right? You were with your same class and, when you were a freshman, junior, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior in college, right? And so that's that. Does that make sense? Awesome. Great. Daniel, over to you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm having trouble finding the page where people sign up, like for the expiring. I'm building my expiring lead
Mini course?
magnet.
Okay.
Yeah, the mini course. So
And you're having
I
trouble
want,
finding where people sign up for it?
yes, where's
Okay.
that page I designed to do
No
that?
worries. That's
Because I'm
super.
finding a bonus page.
So I have an example expiring mini course right here. I'm going to drag it to the top in this account. And Susan, I saw that you put in the chat just to tie that in a bow. It can still be a self-study course rather than an instructor-led, like a cohort course could still be self-led. It's just maybe you're only going to release material 1 per week, right? The key factor of a cohort course, or I think the key portion of the definition, is that you have a group of people that are doing the things together, right, at the same time. So that's really, so it doesn't have to be instructor-led. So back to Daniel. I'm going to open up the expiring mini course. At least I hope I will. And you want to look for, where is that order page? If you're, obviously the order page lives in step 4, or your ability to customize it, right? So you could click on order form and that's where you would customize it in step 4. But if you just want to find the order page, you would go down to step 6 and you'll see right here, it says your order form, your course order form. And over on the right-hand side of the screen, if I move my Zoom tools out of the way, you'll see that you can copy the link right here, and that's what you would put in an email, or you would send to students, or you would put on the web or whatever. And that's how you get to that order form that you developed.
And what's the difference between the home and this one? Like,
The homepage
I know
is
that this one,
right.
yeah, the homepage, what would be the home?
The homepage is the very first page that your learner arrives at after they have signed up for your course. So the order page is the land. Sometimes people call it a landing page. Sometimes people call it a start page, or a purchase page, right? So your order page is like, this is where you go to buy the course or sign up for the course. As soon as you sign up for it, the student is automatically taken to your homepage. And that's where you give the introduction, you welcome them. Maybe you have some pre-actions that you want them to do before they start the course. Except like sign up for your follow you on social media, or sign up for your email list, or download your workbook, that kind of stuff. Make sense?
Yeah, perfect sense.
Awesome.
And well, one last question, like the mini course can be free and can be charged also, like I can charge for that, right? For the
Absolutely.
Lakeland.
Yeah, I mean, you can charge for any course that you have in your account. So if you go up to the payment options, the expiring mini course, the template that we create, there is no price, because the idea behind it is people can sign up and it's used as a lead generation tool. So you want to get as many people in as possible. But if you want to start creating mini courses, right? True mini courses where you're giving some real knowledge. Yeah, you just click on, add a payment one time. It's like, look, hey, here's my series of mini courses. You can buy all of them for, $2,000, or you can buy each of them for $25. I don't know, however you want to do it.
Thank you.
No worries. Awesome. Thank you for those questions. I want to go back to Shoba, and I want to echo what I believe Rhonda, said in there. I also want to encourage you to use our Facebook group. There are a lot of people who are XP creators in our Facebook group. Not a lot, almost all of them are. And they are one very, very helpful community. And so just saying, hey, look, I would love to, I'm creating a 10-day challenge or a 7-day challenge, and I want to track progress. How have other people done it? I guarantee you're going to get at least 10 examples of how they've done it, and everybody has a slightly different way they've approached it. So that's really a great way to leverage the community that you're a part of. Do you know where the Facebook group is?
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, like with so many Facebook groups, I know that's the best place, but like when it comes to using social media, like I'm a bit behind, but I get you. Thank you.
I totally, just offering that as a resource, because there are a couple thousand people in there that are super interested in helping out.
Mhm.
Cool.
Thank you.
Were there other questions that we wanted to get answered before we start talking about cohort horses? Anybody else? Welcome to Araceli, I believe. Cool. So something I wanted to run through today was the idea of a cohort course, and I'm going to be referencing this article right here. I just want to pull it up for you. Sorry, I should have had this all teed up. Here we go. And I'll put it in the chat here for you. And so the only reason I'm putting it there is so that you can reference this later for for anybody who wants to do this. But let's just kick it off by saying, why, what are some of the benefits of doing a cohort course? This is what we were Susan's question earlier. At the end of the day, a cohort course is something that typically a group of people go through together, and there's lots of reasons why that is beneficial. If you have a challenge that everybody's trying to achieve together, there's safety in numbers. If you are, have a complex topic or something that requires, a lot of thinking and discussion, having the opportunity for peer-to-peer feedback or your peer-to-peer review is something. If you have a membership, or if you have a practice where you're really trying to build community, bringing these cohorts together, it's really cool if you think about this over time. If you were to run one cohort per month, or maybe you could have 12 cohorts per year, and you could give them each their own name. That's a way for them to kind of identify, have a badge, and sort of identify themselves within the bigger group. Maybe 12 is too many. You could do it once per quarter, and then, hey, I was part of Q1 2024, and that was my group. So that's one way to do it. And then, in terms of the Experienceify piece as well, when you're doing something with other people, it's a great motivator, right? There's others in the course that are going to either motivate you or keep you accountable, or, as we're experiencing right now, creative solutions, or maybe they think about a problem in a different way. And so there's a lot of benefits to doing a cohort course. How you structure the cohort course is entirely up to you, but it's something where the students start together and then they move through the course of time. So a challenge is a really excellent example of using a cohort course. And so let's just go back to, sorry, I will share my screen here. Let's go back to this 10-day challenge that I popped out here. And let's just say that we're going to have, make this into a cohort course. The way that we recommend building a cohort course is to do two things. One is to create this, whatever course that you want. It could be a membership, it could be a challenge, it could be, whatever kind of course you have, but I'm going to use this 10-day challenge as the example here. And what you would do is you would build out the 10-day challenge, and we would come in and we would add the content, one for each day. We would add our, videos, we would add our actions, we would add, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we would have the release timing be on specific days. So, it's either, if it starts on June 1st and then it's every week after that, or maybe it's on, specific days, et cetera, et cetera. So you're going to create the challenge so that each of the pieces, each of the trainings are released on a specific day. So let me just do that. So I'm going to just do on the first Monday, right? And we'll save that. And then the release timing I'll do for that one on a specific date. Oops, sorry. On the second Monday. Blah, blah, blah. And we would do that going down, and we would, you would do that for each of the trainings going down. And you would build out this course entirely. And then at the very end, when you're all done building everything and you have a cohort, you have a 10-day challenge that you really, really, really like, we would come up here and we would click on this fun little button right here called duplicate, right? And there's a reason why we're going to duplicate it. So we would duplicate it, and what we'll find, so you can see now this one says copy. I'm going to go back to my courses here, and you'll see I have the 10-day challenge that I was working on here, and then I have the copy of it here. So I'm going to move that up here. So let's make this easier to understand. So we're going to call it we'll call this one the original challenge so that we can see it. And then I'm going to go back to my courses, and I'm going to call this one just for this, for this conversation here, the Evergreen challenge, right? So that we can distinguish between them very easily. I'm going to move this up here. So what we now have is we have the original challenge that we built, and we have all 10 days of the challenge, or 10 weeks, whatever it is we have. And then now we have an exact copy of it, but we've given it a different name. Once we have created that exact copy, we go back to the original challenge, and we make the very last action on the very last day something, rather than earning today's badge, we would create a new action and a simple checkbox, and we would want the action to be to give them a tag, or to we want them to be added to the other course automatically, right? And so sorry, I'm just going to close out of this. Give me 1 second. We have to go over to we want it. Yes. I apologize. We're back. We would go over to step number 5. And this is where we would, so we have celebrations, and we would go down to our experience engine, and we would create a new experience that says, I'm not sure if it's going to be in the playbook or the library. I always forget this part. Nope. XP's earned, welcome back, student rescue, completion. Nope. So let's go back and add something from the library. Add to, well, nope. We'll start one from scratch. So course completed is we're going to use the starting trigger. And so when somebody completes the course, that's what the trigger is to start this experience. So that's where we've now created this experience in our course. First, I'm going to make sure, and we'll have to make sure to turn it on. And we don't have any actions inside this experience now. So, right, so remember, just to draw us back, we created our 10-day challenge. We put all of our content in there. We did put our actions in there, etc. We made a copy of it. So we have the exact copy. Now we're back in the first one, right? And then what I've done is now I've created a new, I'm in step number 5, and I'm in our experience engine. And the experience that we're going to put here is we're going to put add to course right here. At the bottom of the screen here, add to another course. And then I'm going to select the course. Of course, they're not published, but we will. So I guess it has to be published. I'll always love it when I run into my own limitations here. Let's just assume though you would add this. So you would add the Evergreen challenge. I apologize. This is one of those limitations that when you're using a demo account. So you would add the Evergreen challenge, and that would allow you to that automatically adds the user, or so your learner, to the other course. Let's assume that worked. So now I get to be a little embarrassed as a trainer right now. Shilpa, go right ahead if you have a question.
Can I ask a quick question here? This was very helpful because this is the same problem I was facing too, because after the cohort finishes, I was planning to add this cohort to the Evergreen course. And this was the exact thing I was looking for. And so like earlier, what I was doing was I was tagging them, like again, creating the Evergreen course as a new course, and like again, transferring all the students to this Evergreen course. But looks like there is a more simple solution. So I can just go to the experience engine, like create the tag that you create, just like you did. So because I was facing this challenge every time I completed the cohort. So this was very helpful. Thank you so much for showing, because this was the exact thing I was looking for.
And so let's go, let's take it through. Daniel, do you have a question that's relevant to this portion? Go ahead.
Yeah, so just to understand, when I'm having a cohort for a challenge and then they finish and I want them to keep having the information for life. So I do this, right?
Correct.
This is what I have to do.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And that's the reason why. So what we're going to find next, I'm just going to share my screen again. So I just want to make sure I'm not missing any messages here. Oh, okay, Susan, you're saying you'd probably do 1 cohort course per month with being on a special. Yeah, okay, excellent. I'm just going to share my screen again. So once I've created, so remember now we're still inside the original challenge. And let's just assume I was able to add that experience correctly, even though we had a little problem there that we needed to have published courses. And then the final thing that we want to do is we want to actually notify the students or the learners that they're going to get added to a second course, right? Because they'll get that notification. It's like, wait a second, where do I log in? How do I get that, right? And so I'm realizing I forgot a step as well. So we want to go into day 10 and we would want to add either a notification or in this new action, we would want to put something like that, now that you've completed this course, bonus. Right. So we want to give them some notice, and what I put there was not just that we're going to add them to another course, but let's make it special, right? It's like, hey, you successfully completed the challenge. Now you're part of the VIP club or the platinum level or the inner circle or whatever you want to call it, so that it feels, hey, wait, I just did something important. You're motivating them to stay a part of this and be a valuable member of your community going forward. And then, we also recommend that you're going to also say, hey, look, this isn't just these materials that you have, but there's going to be some bonuses there. There's going to be some, there's other material that they'll get access to, maybe some Easter eggs and those kinds of things that you maybe didn't have in the original course. So that's an option, but essentially to make it special. And Daniel, if you just give me 1 second here. The one last thing I was chuckling at myself is that when I'm going back to step number 5, you'll remember when we added this experience down here of completing the course, this is where we would add them to the new course. At this time as well, we would actually also remove them from this course, right? So we want to actually also do that action. So then they're not in 2 courses, they're not in both of them at the same time. We remove them from the original one, we put them into the Evergreen one, and that's how we move them over. And that way, if you run, like Susan was saying, you want to what's it called? You want to run a cohort every month. Every month, you're moving a new set of people into the Evergreen. And so it's growing over time. That community is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's where you then have a real great opportunity to use the forum or, other tools like that to really build community. Daniel, over to you. What was your question?
Yeah, and what is the purpose of doing this and not letting the people in the same course they did? What's the advantages of doing this?
This is so that you can rerun the cohort course at a different time, because the cohort starts on a specific date and then it runs. So either it's 10 days or it's 10 weeks or it's 10 months. And that's a way you could say, look, I run my cohort once per quarter. It's a 7-week thing, and then we restart it. So you would, after you've finished one cohort and they've all moved to the Evergreen or whoever's finished it, then you go back and you reset your dates and you reset your timing so that you're going to run the second one. Usually a cohort has some instructor-led piece to it, but it doesn't, that doesn't necessarily, isn't necessarily required. But you would then reset it for the next cohort, next cohort, next cohort. But each one of them would then go into the Evergreen. And that way you're building, they continue to have access to all the content, but you can have a new cohort do the actual timed delivery, right? When the key thing, the sort of the step we haven't gotten to yet is we've made the changes to the original challenge, right? So we created the original cohort, we put all the materials in, we created that final experience when they've clicked yes, done, great, awesome. We've notified them that they're going to move to the VIP section, which is the same course. And we're going to remove them from this original challenge. What we need to do in the Evergreen challenge is that we want to make sure that all of the content is immediately available, right? So all of the release timings are changed to immediately. So that way, when they're moved to the Evergreen content, everything is available automatically. So it looks like they've already taken everything, and Shazam. That way, they don't have to like redo the cohort. That makes sense? Susan, and then sorry, Shobha, and then Susan, please go right ahead.
So in the Evergreen, can we have different tags? So let's say one cohort, so they had a set of replay videos, which I tagged them by the cohort name. So like if I'm moving the student to the Evergreen, so like I'm moving the tag, I mean the replay tags. And for the second cohort, I have a different set of replay. So is it possible to hold all the different tags in the Evergreen? So let's say
Yes,
if
so
each course is
tags
having,
are so tags are associated with the learner account, not the course. So
okay,
anytime you give a tag to someone, you're putting it on their learner account. So if they go to a different course, they still have that tag on their account
okay,
until you remove it. So in your case, if you said, look, here's the replay tags, right? They already have those replay tags. And so in this way, you actually don't have to create new replay tags for every cohort. You just
yes,
you just use the same tags. Does that make sense?
yes, okay, thank you.
We're making it easier and easier for you, Showa.
Yes, thank you.
Susan, over to you.
I think you may have already answered my question. It sounds like the reason you're moving them to another course, it's not necessarily a different course, it's the ongoing access to the same course they just finished, right?
Correct. That's exactly correct. And we just need to move them into the duplicate course because they've completed the challenge, right? They've completed the cohort, and you want to run the cohort again, right? You want to be able to do that again. And so you need to move them into this Evergreen so they still have access to the content,
Right.
etc. That's the only reason.
What I was trying to figure out is how if you take them out of the other one, they won't have access to it, but they will. It's gonna
That's why the key thing is that you want to make sure you build the entire cohort, the entire course that you're using for the cohort, build it all first, then duplicate it.
Yeah.
So that like I would build it, test it, make sure it works, make sure everything is the way that you want it, then duplicate it, then do these last little steps to add the experience and blah, blah, blah.
and they won't know that it's different, right? Because they're gonna have access to everything that they've already completed. And
Correct. But they will see a new course name in their account, right? So for example, let's just say, you're joining Laddick's 10-day challenge, right? And that's the cohort and it starts on June 1st, blah, 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 blah. And then when they're done with that, we're going to say the very last thing is, hey, look, you've completed this. I'm now going to move you into my VIP access, and that's going to give you access to the VIP course, but you're not going to have access to this challenge anymore, right? So we want to notify them, because then in their account, the only course they'll see is VIP access rather than 10-day challenge. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Rhonda.
Okay, this is a follow-up on the replays. How do the replays that are associated with a cohort follow them into the VIP or the Evergreen?
If you are putting replays in that are in real time, right? So let's just say you're doing a cohort where it's a 10-day challenge or a 10-week challenge, and you're having a live, like once a week, you're having a live, and they're putting that in as a replay.
Right. And then when that cohort is done and I move the students to the Evergreen, how do I then have to copy the page or somehow re-upload all those replays so that they can have access in the Evergreen course for those replays?
No, you would just wait until week 10 or week 7. You'd wait until the last week, and then that's when you would duplicate the course, and it will duplicate everything into that Evergreen. Now, the one key thing here though is the Evergreen that you're building, because you have replays of specific live events. When you start to put, this method assumes that you're going to have the same content in those two courses, right? So if you always will have live things, you're just going to want to notify people that, yeah, the replays or whatever are going to be a little different, or you're going to have to copy those replays into the Evergreen as well on a one-to-one basis. The reality, and at the end of the day, the moment that we decide to be instructor led, and when we have synchronous learning or synchronous interaction with our students, that basically creates a unique course. It creates a unique moment. And so some of the model, like the model we're discussing here today, assumes that you have the same content, that it's student, you know, sort of, you've already got all the content built, and then that content will just be available. But because you're talking about doing live events, you're literally creating a live moment for them, and that's supposed to be unique for them. So you're going to have, there's going to be a little administration, more administration for you.
Okay, I was just making sure I'm following, because the course content in the program I have going, the course content would actually be the exact same.
Right.
The only thing that would differ would be those weekly live coaching sessions.
And
Group
so,
sessions.
and so maybe
get how,
maybe what you would do is create the course without the lives, without the replays, then duplicate it, right? And as you go through your challenge, you put the replays in so people have them, right? When the cohort is finished and you get to the end of it, everybody moves to the Evergreen, and then maybe you take those, each of those calls, and you put them into a special page where it's just like, you know, this was cohort, you know, May 2024, and here's the live replays for those. And then you give them a tag so they only have access to that one.
right. But it seems like moving those live calls so that the cohorts can get them in the Evergreen version, that piece of it's going to be a manual
Correct.
piece.
Yeah.
Other than maybe the first launch, like you said, like the very first cohort that goes through, you could wait till the very end and copy over all those lives, but it's the second and third and fourth cohort that you can't duplicate the course again unless you want to continue to duplicate every single cohort and have
right. And then, but then you'd have
Evergreen for every, you wouldn't want to do that.
But yeah, but the point of the Evergreen is that you keep adding students to it over time so that it continues to grow, and you have like one place where that, you know, you're kind of building your community. And so, so my point here is that I think it's really awesome and important and a great value add to do live things, right? To be the instructor, to be human, to be available. But as soon as you do that, you're creating unique material for this cohort. And so that's where there's going to be administration and uploading, and, you know, sort of, you're going to have to manage that, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So can I make a quick comment to Rhonda's question? So the way I do it, like the reason I have this replays is for some people who cannot attend the live session, so they can have access to the replay. So on the dashboard, so we also have the replay where we can put all our replays in that section. So from the original course, I take the replays and tag that replay. And when I'm moving to the Evergreen course, so I'm moving that tag of students. And now in the original course, when my second cohort has come, so just in the replay section, I'm having this new set of replays for this a live cohort. So again, when I'm moving to my Evergreen, so this is the second different tag of students that I'm moving to the Evergreen. I mean, this is how I have been doing Ladakh, but maybe like you might have a better option, but this is how I have been doing it so far. So,
well, ultimately, here's the thing. I am of the mind, unless there is an incredibly important reason for a certain cohort to have access to certain replays, right? This has to do with, you know, who knows? Like there's a certification, there's a top secret clearance. I don't know what it is, right? Unless you have just like a really rock solid, this is absolutely important for one group of people to have access to these replays, I would give access to all the replays to all the people, and I would forget about tags, right?
so the
And I would
reason
actually I would call that part of the bonus. I would say, look, you're going to actually get the benefit of every cohort that we've ever done and in the future, and you're going to see how we evolve in these new lives, and you're going to be able to play this. And it gives that the perception of you're going to be adding value every 10 weeks or every 12 weeks. You're going to put these new replays in there, and you're going to be able to notify, hey, guess what, everybody, there's 10 new replays that, you know, there's new questions, there's new answers, there's new lives, go check them out. So to me, that's a huge value add for your learner base.
You still would have,
Definite-
you still would have to move them over though, right?
You still have to move.
Okay. Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a great tip, Letic, but the reason I do this is since it's personal health information, which they don't want others to know, like when we are having this live session. So to protect their personal health information and everything. So that's the reason I just give access to that particular cohort. So
And so you've just named a fantastically, perfect. There's a really good reason to segregate, these things. That's a totally legit thing. Like so, but you're a very rare case, I think, where okay, there's some HIPAA laws here we have to do, or some we want to create a safe space for people, that kind of thing, right?
mhm.
So yeah, that's a great example. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. So just to round this out, so let's just I'm going to recap here really quick. I'm going to share my screen to just kind of give a visual representation of the recap as well, because we're kind of coming to the top of the hour here. I'm going to go back to my courses. So the very first thing that we did is we added a new course, and we went down and I chose the 10-day challenge because that gives us a nice structure for a week by week or a day by day or a month by month thing that's already built for you. I created a first one and I named it the original challenge. And so the very first thing that you do is you go into your first course that you built and you actually put everything inside it. You put your videos, your actions, your downloads, your stuff. Excuse me. And then once you have all of that, you test it, you go in as a student, you make sure it looks great. You open it up and then you duplicate it, right? And we can just have one button to duplicate it. When you duplicate it, you would rename that to be the VIP access, the inner circle, the challenge completers, whatever, however you want to name them. I've named it the Evergreen, right? Then you now have two courses that are exactly the same at that stage. Then you're going to tweak just a few things. You're going to go back into your original challenge. You're going to go down to step number 5, and you're going to add a new experience. And that experience says that when they complete the course, they're going to be added to the Evergreen course, and they're going to be removed from this original course. At the very last training, in this case, it's day 10, you're also going to put a notice in here that says, hey, now that you've completed this course, you're going to become a part of our VIP club. And just so you know, in your account, this course is going to disappear and the VIP club is going to appear, and you're going to have access to all these materials for life, right? Shazam, or until your subscription ends or whatever it is. Then the final thing that you want to do is you're going to go over to your new Evergreen course, and you're going to go into the course content, and you're going to make sure that all of the course's materials are available immediately, rather than having a date, so that when they're added to the Evergreen course, they have access to all of the materials, and shazam, they're ready to go. In the case of, when you have replays, if you guys, if you're doing like a live session and then you're putting replays, you will have to move some of those manually. There will be a little bit more administration, but that's just because those are live events. But that's the fun of, being a course creator. We can't make it all automatic, right? Daniel, you asked, what happens if some don't mark the lessons they completed? So what will happen is if someone were to go through your cohort and get to that last training and then they never push that last button, they're going to stay in that cohort, right? They'll stay in that course unless you remove them. And so this is where you would send them an email, or you would, reach out to them on a phone call or whatever, and just say, hey, look, go in and complete it so that, you get to go into the VIP room or whatever, But obviously you're going to have to make your own administrative decisions when there will be people who drop out of your challenge, or, they don't complete, and so that's just the nature of some of the administration you're going to have to do. Awesome. Folks, it's lunchtime here in Mexico. Oh, Susan, you snuck one in. Go ahead, Susan.
Hopefully it's quick. If I do something with a new course each month, do I have to set up each of those courses in the VIP, or can they all go into one VIP membership?
Absolutely. No, each for, let's just say that you have 12 different courses,
Mhm.
and you then, the challenge you will have is, are the 12 courses different material?
Yes. They
So what you would need to do is you need to create one master VIP that has all of the material in there,
Right.
assuming that, right? And
Right.
so if you have that one master one, then for all 12 of the courses at the very end, you would just have that one experience that says, take them to the Evergreen.
But in the meantime, if somebody's finished the first 4, say, right, but then you don't want to give them access to everything because they haven't done those challenges yet.
Right.
Okay, I'll have to think through that a little bit more. It sounds-
Yeah, we have a bit of a cumulative problem, right? So it's kind of like solitaire where you're putting the cards up, right? Like, so if you've done number 1, you have access to number 1. If you've done 1 and 2, you have access to 1 and 2, but number 1 doesn't have, so like,
Yeah.
we just kind of,
I'll-
and that's where you probably want to create a master course that has all 12 of your modules in there, right? And then you would start using tags to see who sees what,
Got it.
right? That would be the easiest way to do it.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome, folks. I know that my Mexican colleagues, this is not comida. It's not time for comida yet, but for me, for the gringo on the call, it is time to eat lunch. So muchísimas gracias. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you on Thursday.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Goodbye.